Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Aquaba, Canada. We appreciate your support. We are very, very excited to have you always join us on our channel. Today, we're going to get you another informative episode. We have a story to share with a Ghanaian student who just arrived. There are a lot of Ghanaian students coming into Canada, or African students coming into Canada thus far, a lot of them, and we all know what the issues are relating to accommodation, transportation, and all that. And we're doing our best to help them by supporting with advice and encouraging them to be able to adapt with the system. But this story I feel like we need to share because it's very, very touching, and there is a lot of lessons to learn. Our friend here, who is from Ghana, has a story, and it's like somebody must learn to be able to take something out of it. Somebody must watch this video to be able to also take a bit of it. So don't forget always to like and share our channel, and we'll continue with our discussion. Okay, so we would not be showing our sister's face just because we want to keep her anonymous, but we would like her to share a story. So I will be doing all the talking. We'll hear her voice in the background. Just pardon us, but we need to share this. So okay, so now our sister, we want you to start the story by telling us how you started to prepare yourself in transitioning into Canada after you got your study permit. Let's hear you from here.
Okay, so basically I did everything by myself, so I had to figure out everything by myself.
Okay.
So after getting my visa, I know what next is to get my plane ticket and other things to get me to Canada. So I had to make inquiry. I had to make inquiry on.
Yeah. So
I had to make inquiry online to check the cheapest flight ticket. At that time, I wasn't getting any cheap flight tickets. All the flight tickets were so high,
expensive.
So expensive. So I had to just book any. So I booked KLM.
Okay.
KLM. So I set the date for my departure.
Okay, that's good. So at this point, you would have made your preparations, everything set. You would have gotten your tickets. And viewers, I'm just looking on the side because our sister is here, and we're still confirming that she's going to stay anonymous. We don't want to get her identity shown. So just bear with us. We'll just keep it going from there. Okay, so now you have made all your arrangements. So tell me about how you're prepared to reach your final destination, getting to where you're going to be schooling. Just let us run into that story, how you moved from Ghana and where you went to and all that.
Okay, so my final destination should have been Fredericton, but
okay.
I booked my plane ticket to Montreal. I didn't know, and I didn't ask anybody. I didn't get anybody to ask. I don't know who to ask. That's why.
Okay, so my sister, just hold on here. So viewers, this is what we talked about in my other videos, that there are a lot of videos that you can watch. It's not her fault. She didn't get the information and she didn't ask. So she says she booked her flight ticket to Montreal. Montreal to Fredericton is almost 18 hours by road to get to Fredericton. If you want to do train, you have to go to either Moncton or Miramichi to be able to connect here. But she didn't know this. Okay, so tell us, how did they go after that?
So from Ghana to Montreal, I arrived in Montreal at about 6 p.m. that very day.
Okay.
So after my immigration checks and everything, I had to sleep in the airport because I didn't book any accommodation in Montreal. So the next day, I had to find my way to the train station. I didn't know where to go. I asked for assistance from one woman I met, and then she was so kind to me.
Okay.
So she sent me to the train station with my luggage, a lot of luggage, and then it's so stressing. So she helped me. She held one of my luggage. She had a daughter. Her daughter held one, and then I also held one. I had 3 packs, so it wasn't easy.
Okay, so our sister, it's a very interesting story. I don't want us to miss any part. So I want to talk a little bit about your journey. whilst in the plane, was that your first time traveling?
Yeah, that was my first time using a plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was the experience like?
It was stressing because I couldn't stretch myself in the plane. I
Mhm.
felt so stiff.
Rigid, huh?
Yeah, stiff at one point. Like I was in a hurry to get down.
Okay,
Seriously,
I see.
I wasn't comfortable in
So
the
you
plane.
didn't enjoy the flight?
No.
Okay. So at this point, when you go to the airport, you were already tired and stressed.
Yes.
And on top of it, you didn't know where you were even journeying to, how to even get there. Okay, so tell me about this woman that you met. Who was it? Was it an African? Was it a white lady? Tell us a little bit about that experience.
So she's a white lady. She was actually from a trip from Portugal.
Okay.
So she met me, and then I was going to get a bus pass actually to board a bus to the train station, where the train station is. And she was like, "Do I need help?" I said, "Yes. I want to get to the train station." And she was like, "With all these loads, you can't do it all alone." And I said, "Wow." And she said, "Don't worry, I'm going to help you." So she, together with her daughter, helped me to the train station. I got my bus pass, and then we proceeded to the junction. We had to go through subway, like
a tram kind of thing, go to underground.
Honestly, I couldn't have done that all by myself.
Okay, so this woman was very helpful.
Yeah,
we say thank you to this woman wherever she finds herself. And this experience that you are sharing, it is going to help others as well. That's what I want you to take along. So it's going to help others. So now you are at the train station. Tell us what happened next.
So the train, we got to the train station around 11 a.m.
Okay.
And then the train, we had to book a train to, I actually thought we were going to book a train to Fredericton Street, but I was told there is no train to Fredericton. I had to book to either Miramichi or Moncton.
Okay.
So I had a kind woman there who said no, Moncton would be better, so I have to book to Moncton. So I had my train actually depart at 7. So from 11:30 to, I had to wait till 7.
Okay. So at this point you are at the train station. You've gotten your pass, your ticket for the journey. Now viewers, I just want to give you an idea of where she is now. So she's still in Montreal, and this is one whole day in Canada without knowing where she was going to. She's still in Montreal. So even if you get to Moncton, you didn't have an idea how long it was going to take you to get to Fredericton. So from Moncton to Fredericton drive is about 1 hour 40 minutes. That's a drive. Now caveat is that there are no running buses that goes every minute. So definitely our sister is going to be stuck in Moncton for a while. We'll get there. There are no train direct from Moncton to Fredericton, unfortunately. Most people do not have this information. So just know that you should be able to look out for where you're going to. Our sister is really teaching us a lesson, and we're going to learn a lot of this lessons from this. So now, between the 11 and 7 that your train was going to leave Montreal, what were you doing? Tell us about
actually,
it. What exactly were you doing?
I got a place to sit.
Okay.
And there were places to sit. Yeah, so I got a place to sit, and then I didn't know where life was sending me to. I was really thinking. I spent the whole moment thinking about what the next journey will be
What's going to look like.
Yeah, so I don't know where tears came. Like I started crying. Honestly, I couldn't control my tears. I started crying, and then I met one guy around that place. I met one guy I bought the same plane with. He was actually from Ghana too. But we didn't really link up.
Okay.
But at the train station, he saw me and was like, "Hi, what is wrong?" Because that moment I was crying. I was really crying. He was like, "What is wrong with you?" He sat me down, and then he had to console me.
That's good.
And then he had a brother. I don't know whether it's a friend or a brother. So he had a place to perch in Montreal. So
Okay.
He slept over. So he was also moving to, I think, Toronto, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, you were frustrated.
Yeah.
You were worried. You didn't know what the journey was going to look like.
Yeah.
So at this point that you are in Montreal, we've gotten a good Ghanaian Samaritan who has been able to console you. What was happening? Were you connecting with the family? Did you know what the next step was going to be? Were you connecting with other people? Tell us about that.
Well, I was connecting with a couple of friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where were they?
Oh, some of them were in Ghana,
Okay.
and one was in USA.
Okay.
So I was connecting with them, but I didn't actually tell them what the story is like, because I didn't want anybody to feel my story, like,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to tell my mommy to, else she'll feel bad. So
Yeah.
I just kept mute on everything that
Okay.
was going on.
And just updating that you were okay.
Yeah, I was okay.
When you were actually not
okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll continue with the story. And at this point, I want you to tell us the experience from Montreal on the train getting to Moncton. That is where viewers, the meat, the cracks of this whole story is. Tell us the experience.
It was a bad experience, honestly. From Montreal to Moncton took about 24 hours in
Wow.
a train. It
24
wasn't
hours.
Funny. Yes, 24 hours in a train, because I left about 7 p.m. from
Montreal.
and
Okay.
then I reached like almost 5. So, and the time difference, because of the time difference,
Yes.
you can't really calculate the exact time.
So
it
not to
will be
cut you,
about
but
20.
viewers, Montreal, we are ahead of Montreal. That is New Brunswick by 1 hour. So if it is 7 p.m. in Montreal, it's going to be 8 p.m. in Moncton. So just continue from there.
So I reached, it was hell, 24 hours in the train. The train was moving like a tortoise. I actually thought it was a fast train, like a subway, film, but it was so moving slowly. And then every point would have a stop for smokers to smoke. It wasn't funny.
Okay, so viewers, sorry that we're laughing, but so the fast trains are in the bigger cities. And just to let you know that the Atlantic region, it's not the everyday bigger cities that you meet outside in, let's say, the Southern America. But this is one of the smallest provinces, and our train system is not that huge like Toronto or even Montreal or Alberta and all of that. So this experience that she's sharing would help us all learn a lot. But yes, it's a very touching experience. So at this point, you're continuing and you got to Moncton. Tell us the experience when you got to Moncton and how you started everything.
So when I got to Moncton, I knew I was going to take a bus to Fredericton.
Okay.
But I didn't know I had to pre-book. So when I got there, it was around 5, almost 5. And then when I inquired about the bus, they told me there is no bus moving today, and then it has already left until the next day. So actually, buses move every day, once every day from Moncton to Fredericton. So you have to pre-book. I didn't know. So that point was a hell for me. I didn't know what to do. I had a good Samaritan in the train who offered me help. She wanted to send me to her home so that the next day I'll proceed.
Okay.
But my instinct wasn't just doing justice. It was just saying, no, don't go with this woman. Don't go. So I didn't go.
So this bus system that she's talking about, yes, that's true. Once a day, you have to pre-book it. So at this point, the woman who was willing to help you, tell me about her. Was she an African? Was she a Canadian? And what time did you arrive? Is it 5 p.m., 5 a.m.? What time of the day were you at the airport or the train station there?
Oh, okay. So this woman is a Canadian. She actually lives in Moncton too, I think, yeah. Because she shared a little history with me.
Okay.
Yeah, she was from Newfoundland.
Okay.
and then she lives in Moncton.
Okay.
Yeah, so she offered me help, but I didn't trust her. I didn't trust to move with her, so I had to find my way.
Yeah.
And then so I asked a couple of people who worked at the train station, like this bus station actually.
Yeah.
And then they were like, no, I won't get a bus. So I was torn between sleeping at the
Train station.
train station or booking a place to live, like to stay over for the night. I didn't know what to do actually. That point too, I started crying. I'm a crybaby, so
Okay, so I'll take it for my sister. My sister says she's a crying baby. But viewers, even if you are 40, 50 and adults and you get into this situation, you will definitely cry. Because I'll paint a picture of where the bus terminal is. It's the same place that the train station is. It is not a comfortable place that you will sleep and have your peace of mind and all of that. And for somebody who have traveled at this point, it is 3 days on a journey and she hasn't even gotten to her destination. So I pity you that it happened that way, and we are sorry that it happened. But I believe that this is going to help other people also learn. So we want to learn what happened next after this
okay, so
evening in Moncton.
okay.
What were you thinking,
Yeah.
and how did you get help?
Okay, so actually I had to decide for myself.
Okay.
So I went to the car park. I saw one white man, and then I told him I want a taxi. I
Okay.
just told him I want a taxi. He said, okay, I can help you get a taxi. He
Okay.
called a taxi,
Okay.
and then right away the taxi came to the park.
Okay.
So I told the taxi driver I want to go to any nearby mosque. And then by then I googled and I saw that there is a mosque about 9 minutes drive, or I don't know whether it's
Yeah.
a drive or walk to the
Walk. Yes.
from the bus station to the mosque. So I
Okay.
told him I want to go to any nearby mosque, and he was like,
Okay.
okay, I'll send you to a nearby
Okay.
mosque.
Just to cut you here. So two things that most of us Africans do, or anybody, just advise. If you get to a place and you're stranded back home in Africa, they will advise you go to a nearby mosque, go to a nearby church, and you will find somebody to help you. So our sister is using the same instinct and what you call it, premonition to do that, and tell you where the mosque is closer to the bus terminal. It's just a walking distance. But in this case, our sister said she came with 3 luggages. She cannot walk there, so definitely has to be a taxi. So you got to the mosque. Tell us the story about getting to the mosque.
So when I got to the in the car, I was crying. I was still crying because I didn't know what to do. Like,
Yeah.
even from the mosque, I don't know what to do from that moment when I reach. What if I reach there and I didn't meet anybody there,
Yeah,
and I didn't get people to help,
which is possible.
which is possible, yes.
Yes.
Because people don't live in the mosque.
Yes, especially
So,
here.
Yes.
Yes, in Canada, people don't live in the mosque.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I got there, I was so fortunate. I met one old man I was speaking to, but I think there was a language barrier.
Okay.
He wasn't getting what I was saying, so he directed me to one man who was actually also leaving. He just finished praying and was leaving. So he stood and then he asked me where I was from. And I told him I was from Ghana. He was like, he's also from Ghana.
Bingo. So Ghanaians are helping each other here. That is what we do back home in Africa. We find any of the descent. It doesn't matter. A Nigerian can see a Ghanaian. Once you mention that you are an African, that's it. They want to help. So this is a God sent man on earth who changed the story and changed everything for our sister. And we want to say a big thank you for our Ghanaians who are helping, and our African brothers and sisters. You are really being supportive. Let us continue to help one another, because that is how we can help make people feel welcome. In this fall season, we've had a lot of students come in and they are staying with us. It hasn't been easy. But we want to encourage ourselves to keep going. So tell us, we met this Ghanaian. You don't need to mention his name. You met this Ghanaian. How did he help you from here? Did he send you to a hotel? Did he travel all the way to Fredericton to drop you? Tell us what happened. You don't have to mention his name, but just
Okay,
share the story.
so this man has been really, really kind to me because so from the mosque he told me that I'm going to send you to my home.
Okay.
So you'll have a shower and rest. Like, he made me feel so comfortable. I don't know, I just felt comfort from that moment. That was when I started.
And this man, you never know him?
I never know him. I don't know him from anywhere. I'm not related to him.
Okay.
Like, I just met him that very day, and then he offered help. Yeah, so we went to his house, and then his wife was so kind too, like so kind. She prepared a meal for me. I ate, I prayed, and then I took a shower. And then so the next day too. And so this is somebody who made me feel so comfortable. Good. He always asks whether I'm comfortable. He always wants me to feel they never for a day made me feel unwanted, seriously, because they always made me feel like their own.
That's good.
Honestly. So from the next day we were planning what to do next. So he asked me what my plans were. And
okay.
I told
So just to catch you here, this family that she is talking about, I happen to know them, and because of privacy sake I haven't gotten permission, so I won't mention their name, but they are really doing a great job in Moncton, and God bless them for that. Because where our sister went to, which is the mosque, I know where it's located. If she had not met somebody like this man and their family, it would have been difficult, because most people come there, they probably do not understand our language, or they don't trust you from where you came from. And especially with somebody with 3 luggages, nobody wants to send you home. You have 3 luggages? No, nobody wants to send you home. So it has been almost like God sent this man to just wait for her and just pick her to her destination. So we say God bless them for helping. We want to hear the story, how the man was able to help you. You were telling me that he traveled with you to Fredericton almost 3 times to look for accommodation. And Fredericton is not like a 30-minute drive. It's almost a 2-hour drive. This man does his own work. He's a taxi driver as well. So imagine spending fuel to and from 2 hours, that is 4 hours every day on a different occasion. Tell me about that story that you shared with me.
So whilst I was living with them, I have to have my plans.
Okay.
So we started searching for accommodation in Fredericton here. We got one, and then we had to come for viewing because of trust issues, and then and we had to make payment. So before you make payments, you have to view the place too, to make sure this is where you want to be.
Yeah.
So I told him about the situation, and he said, okay, no problem, I'll drive you to Fredericton the next day so that we can go and view the place.
Okay.
So we came to Fredericton, we viewed the place, and then hoping that would be where I'll be staying. But when we went back to Moncton the next day, the person said, no, there are a couple of Ghanaians who were going to take up that place have disappointed them, so the landlord is not giving the place out to us again. So I had to make another decision.
Yes.
I had to start looking for another place too.
Okay, so we'll just continue from here, and just to emphasize that there are a lot of arrangements that are made for people, and in our previous video we shared accommodation you have to pre-book and you have to make a deposit. But this is our sister who have had her own experiences, so there was that difficulty. 2 cities in between, you don't know who to trust. We'll continue from here with a break. So our sister was struggling between the two. Now, and just somebody will ask, why don't you even stay in Moncton? Why are you thinking of going to Fredericton? Our sister came as a student, and so she needed to come to Fredericton because that is where her school is. And school will be starting in few days per the time that she came. So she needed to make arrangement for accommodation. She needed to make arrangement for classes, registration, bus, everything. So that was why she was juggling between the two. Just to ask, so you got your accommodation and you finally moved. So how long did it take you to be able to get that accommodation and all that?
Okay. So after some couple of days, we got in touch with someone who also helped us to get an accommodation here.
Okay.
So that one too, we had to come for viewing.
Okay.
So when I told
When
this
you told
good
him,
Samaritan
yes,
about the situation, he said, "No problem. I'm going to drive you from Moncton to Fredericton." I was like, "Oh God!"
and this
I
is number
was
2 or number
feeling
3?
Number 2.
Okay.
This was number 2. I was feeling bad because he works. He has a family.
Yeah.
And then he's moving me every now and then from Moncton to Fredericton. He's spending full. I was really thinking like about all those things. I
Yeah.
was feeling bad, but
Yeah.
he never felt bad.
Okay.
Honestly, he's a kind soul.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's a very good man. So finally you got your accommodation.
Yeah.
And you moved in.
So okay.
How are you settling here?
Okay, so we went, actually from that day we went back to Moncton again.
Oh wow, you didn't get the accommodation
Yeah,
that day.
yeah.
Okay.
Because she said after viewing you can't come and view and then enter into the accommodation that same day.
Okay.
So we came, we made the deposit, and then we went back to
Okay.
Moncton.
Okay, so you went back. So
Yeah.
this time you have secured an accommodation, and you were 100% sure that you were going to move in.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about that next step.
Okay.
What happened? Did you guys have to sleep in Moncton, or you slept in Fredericton, or when? What did you do?
So we went back to Moncton
Okay.
that same night.
Okay.
And the viewing was at 8 p.m. So you could
Wow.
imagine.
So you drove here 8 p.m.
To Moncton, and then the next day he drove me here again, Fredericton again, to Fredericton. That was the final day. I finally settled where my school is located.
Yes.
And at least
Now you have settled. So we it's a very touching story, but in the end she was able to find a place. So good people are difficult and hard to find, but when you find one, they're able to go all out and help. I will just touch on some lessons that you've learned throughout this, because that is the most important thing. Life without lessons, nothing happens. So I just want you to share a little bit of lessons that you've learned, what advice you have for other students and other travelers who are preparing to journey to Canada or anywhere.
okay, so the little lesson I have learned is that whatever you are going to do, you have to have a plan.
Good.
Yes, you have to have a proper planning and plotting seriously, because if I had planned well, I don't think I would have been stranded.
Okay.
And then coming to a new place is not that easy. It's not as easy as we think it is.
Yes.
So you have to have all the financial resources.
Yes.
That will support you.
Okay.
To come.
So 2 things, viewers. 1, make sure you plan very well. Go back and watch our video preparing for that trip. Whether you're a student, whether you're whoever, you need to plan. By planning, she says, you need to plot your trips. Where is my final destination? So if you're traveling from Ghana and you're going to school in Ontario, you're going to school in Brampton, plot it well to ensure that you get the right destination. If you don't have an idea, ask your school, ask someone, go online, Google. And she says you need to prepare for that trip well, financially, accommodation wise, everything. Don't overburden yourself when you can make it easy.
And also in everything you do, you have to trust God.
Yes.
Yes, because God has been my pillar since day one, and He has never disappointed me.
Good.
Yeah, so you have to trust God, believe in your God,
Yes.
and then everything will be fine.
Yes. Okay, so thank you so much, our sister. And we have heard a touching story. And as she said, trust in God. From beginning to end, you need to trust in God. In trusting in God, you need to prepare. Don't leave everything to God. As she said, you need to prepare, because God will only help you materialize your plan if you have that. God has plans for you, but He has given you the spirit to also prepare. Make sure you put in the right effort for that education, for that first trip, everything. Our sister got lucky and she met a good Samaritan. It does not mean every one of you should come the same route. My brother, my sister, you will be stranded, because there are other people who came through that route and they found themselves really, really in a bad shape. So please, please, and please make sure you share this video with your friends, share this video with your church members, anybody you know is traveling, anybody you know is planning to make a trip. Like our videos, subscribe to our channel for more, and let this story motivate you to also do wonders, do help others, do put in an effort to also make a life easy and accessible to other people. Another time will be a very touching story. You never know what we're going to bring. We always encourage you to watch Akwaba channel, and thank you so much for subscribing.